Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Good morning. We got a lot to get to today and a big party tonight. Nashville Palace, it's going to be absolutely jumping. Tickets are still available. Only a few left if you want to make it there. 997WTN.com, but it's going to be the whole squad. Myself, Mandis, Murphy, Benson, Wilson, Weaver, Jones. The entire crew is coming out to Nashville Palace to watch that joint session of Congress with DJT, and we want you there. Tickets include a buffet and some drink tickets and reserved seating. 997WTN.com. I'm hearing that the Democrats they're planning to upset the apple cart. They're going to do everything in their arsenal to interrupt the speech, and it just seems cheesy and lame. They're going to bring. Listen to this. They're going to bring hand clappers and signs. Nailed it. That's a good idea.
They've been told not to bring signs.
Oh, no signs?
No signs.
We know.
Don't know about those hand clappers. But.
We know how the Democrats are with following directions. But I heard they were bringing noisemakers, hand clappers, signs, and eggs, and planning walkouts.
Well, that's mature.
Can you believe the cost of eggs after these last 30 days? Unbelievable. They used to be so affordable under Joe Biden. Listen, we're looking forward to all the insanity from the left, and we want to watch it with you at the Nashville Palace. Again, tickets available at 997WTN.com. Of course, I think one thing is going to be perfectly crystal clear tonight, and it's how much Donald Trump hates America, how much of a danger he is to America, and we should all be concerned. That's not my opinion. That's the opinion of one esteemed Jasmine Crockett.
Unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
Well, what are we going to do to wake people up? How can we wake people up? He's obviously a dictator. He never wants to leave the White House. I heard behind the scenes, he's wearing a crown in the office. Have you heard that? It's insane. He's got to be stopped. Obviously, this guy hates America. Obviously, he's a dictator. He's an enemy of the state. And like any good enemy of the state, he got another $100 billion investment into the U.S. that will create thousands of jobs yesterday. He's playing the long game. That's got to be what it is. He's trying to lull you into a false sense of security of loving America before he flips the script, right? That's got to be it. I don't know what else it could be. Because he clearly hates America.
He's like Senator Palpatine with that 20-year plan.
Honestly, he's got to be stopped. We have to stop the orange man. But no, yesterday was massive. $100 billion from a Taiwan microchip company invested into the United States. That's a lot of money.
Good people. Today, Taiwan Semiconductor is announcing that they will be investing at least $100 billion in new capital in the United States over the next short period of time to build state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think
the only reason these companies are investing in America is because they understand how much Trump hates America, right? Like they're playing the long game too. I think so. But you look at this guy, what he's been able to do in the last 30 days. Tonight's speech is going to be unbelievable. I mean, in the last 30 days, he's brought in $1.7 trillion in investments to America. Many of these CEOs and world leaders said, "Yeah, we were waiting until Biden was out of office to do this because we didn't trust him." But he got a $14.1 billion bid from Nippon Steel. He got $20 billion from Hussein Sajawani. He got $500 billion over 4 years from Apple, $500 billion over 4 years from Stargate, $600 billion from Saudi Arabia, and now $100 billion from the Taiwan Semiconductors. It's insane. It's insane what he's been able to do in such a short period of time. Now, he's going to be able to tout. It's wild, though. 30-plus days, and he's going to be able to tout accomplishments tonight. Accomplishments. Promises made, promises kept. It's wild. It's wild. And you're seeing the ripple effects everywhere. Honda is now announcing that they got a new hybrid Civic that they're making. They were going to make it in Mexico. Now they're going to make it in Indiana. Obviously, the only reason they're doing this is because Trump hates America and he's an enemy of the state, right? Like, obviously, there's no other way to cut that. He hates America, and he wants you stuck in a wagey job. That must be what it is, right? Yeah. I mean, you ask the Democrats though. You ask the Democrats, they can't see why he's doing what he's doing and why these companies are falling into line. Governor Healy out of Massachusetts, she was talking about, all these CEOs are making these massive investments in America. And she's like, what CEO would want to invest here? We're getting rid of DEI.
Talk to any CEO, major, Fortune 500 company. They'll tell you that their bottom line, dollar-wise, does better when there's more diversity in the room.
But many of these...
That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's made us stronger.
Many of these companies, though, are ditching their DEI
programs.
programs.
I don't know why.
Yeah, well, you'll never learn. I mean, listen, you can't read the tea leaves. You probably don't know which way the wind is blowing. You don't know. I don't know why. That's Governor Maura Healey out of Massachusetts. She could probably say the exact same thing as to why they release child rapists who are illegal aliens from their prisons and then they go on to rape against. I don't know why. I don't understand. This is the state of the current left. You have all these companies investing. They understand the trajectory that America is on, and they want on board. We're getting rid of the woke crap. We're bringing in merit. And you can see the proof in the pudding. $1.7 trillion in investments since Donald Trump took office. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then at the same time, with friends like these, who needs enemies? We're holding China, Canada, Mexico accountable. Tariffs kicked off at midnight. Let's go. And Canada's talking a big game, but we got a 10% on top of the initial 10% tariff on China. They're at 20%. Canada and Mexico are going to have a 25% tariff levied on imported goods with a carve out of a lower 10% tariff on Canadian oil imports. But this is what we need to do. Level the playing field and make it work for America. And it's gonna ruffle some feathers. People are going to be upset. Ontario Premier Doug Ford, that's like their governor, not to be confused with the governor of the 51st state, Trudeau, but Ontario Premier Doug Ford, he's out there talking a big game. He's threatening to cut off electricity from a couple states in America.
We are the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We buy over 3,600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything. And I don't want to. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes and manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario. And it's going to be a massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does. And not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it.
I too consider myself a hardcore Republican. I love it, actually. Weird. I wish Doug would have shot me a text. You're going to cut off electricity, are you? Okay. First, I'll believe it when I see it. Let's just be perfectly honest. Secondly, do you really want to start that? Do you really want to go that way? I mean, he's threatening to cut off our electricity to several states. I wonder if he is aware that the largest oil pipeline in Canada, it just so happens to come through America before it hits Ontario. Like, do you understand how easy it would be to just be like, hey, we're going to stop this then? Do you understand how bad that would be for Canada? Like, I don't want to get into the game, but like, if you're going to play it, like, you're going to cut off power. First of all, New York, nothing of value will be lost. But we could retaliate just as easily. A shutdown of Line 5. That's the Canada mainline, the Canadian mainline pipeline. It would absolutely wreck them in about a week and a half. You'd have energy prices driven up. You'd have industries disrupted. You'd have an increased reliance on foreign oil. We would wreck them in a week and a half. I'm going to cut off electricity to Minnesota, don't you know? Okay, Doug. Okay. Does Doug even have the authority to do that? I don't understand how Canada works. It's just America's hat with weird robes. I don't get it. But okay, cut off the power. It's the scale. You have the F around access, and then you have the find out access. And then when they converge, it's bad. It's bad. But that's Doug Ford talking a massive game. He also said in that same clip that America will feel pain like they've never felt before, to which I just chuckled. I said, we got over 4 years of Biden, right? Like, that just happened. We're bathed in pain. Like, we've been hardened and molded by the pain. Like, Canada's going to cause me pain? No. Again, F around, find out. Justin Trudeau, he responded to with retaliatory tariffs. He's the governor of the 51st state, and he's talking a big game too. And I don't know, maybe it's the Canadian accent, maybe it's the way they cross their legs when they sit. But I feel no fear when I hear this man talk. And the computer's frozen. Hang on one second. Golly, of course it freezes right when we get to the governor of Canada. Hang on one second. Here's Trudeau.
To do everything we can to make sure that there are no tariffs on Tuesday. But if ever there were tariffs on Tuesday, as we have all seen, as we were ready to do last time, we will have a strong, unequivocal, and proportional response as Canadians expect.
A strong, unequivocal, and proportional response as Canadians expect. We're angry, but we're still well-mannered. That's Governor Trudeau. Again, he's not talking as big of a game as Premier Doug Ford is out of Ontario. And a lot of people mention this. Is that the guy that got caught smoking crack while he was mayor of Toronto? No, that's his brother. But here we go. Trade war 2.0. How long until the knee gets bent? I imagine knees will be bent by later this week. Easily. We might feel some short-term pain. I'm here for it. I don't think it's going to be that bad. And if you listen to Mandis' show this morning, he had it on an economist from the Heritage Foundation. He said by Memorial Day, we're going to see the light. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, he weighed in on the tariffs coming from Canada and coming to Canada and Mexico, and he breaks it down in a way that he only can. We'll bring that to you on the way. But first, my friends, I got to tell you about my friends at United Structural Systems. The rain is coming. You've seen the forecast. It's here once again. And with that rain, if you got waterproofing issues in your house, it's a nail biter. Is it going to be bad? It may be. And if that water's getting into your crawl space and into your basement, it's only going to get worse. You need to get it fixed, because if you don't, man, it turns into mold, turns into wood rot. All of a sudden you have foundation issues. You need to clean it up. You need to call the best. Call USS. When you call USS, you're not going to get a sales guy. You're going to get an expert. This is how they've acquired 30,000 satisfied residential customers since 1994. This is how they've stayed in business for so long. USS guarantees their best, and when they leave behind a warranty that is good for life and will stay with the home even if you leave. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems, online, USSTN.com.
Well, coming up, you may be picking up your neighbor's trash cans today. Some high winds expected here, along with some severe thunderstorms later on as well. And a tense standoff in Nashville is now over. We'll tell you the latest on that. Those stories coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Appreciate you, Joan Jones. 26 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, hit like and subscribe over on YouTube. I just posted a message in there. I said, shout out to everybody. Hit like and subscribe. Love y'all being here, even the haters. If you like arguing with unhinged leftists, there's a few of them in the YouTube chat for you. And we got an unhinged leftist right here.
Before. And I'm sorry to the American people that your president has decided to do this. I apologize, but he's giving us no choice. There's nothing wrong with our trading. He keeps saying, oh, they're taking money. No, that's not accurate. Matter of fact, if you take out our oil, that you take 4.3 million barrels a day, and we keep things going, outside of that, take the energy to the side, you have a $55 billion surplus. Which is good. That's fine. America has a $55 million process, and $55 billion more in trade, and God bless them. We want to expand the trade. We want to create an AmCan fortress.
Well, then you're going to need to make the playing field level on the trade. I mean, point blank, it's not level right now. Trump posting on Truth Social this morning. Canada doesn't allow American banks to do business in Canada, but their banks flood the American market. Oh, that seems fair to me, doesn't it? ? I mean, you can go through this on so many different areas. You can look at the dairy industry. It's insane, the tariffs that we're being hit by Canada with. So, yeah, no, it needs to change. It needs to be fair. That's all we're looking for. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was on CNBC this morning talking about the tariffs that are now being imposed on Canada and Mexico.
Remember, the process in America for tariffs is that the president launched a study, and those are the rules of tariffs in America, and that study is finished on April 2nd. So on April 2nd, the president will have all the tools in his arsenal that he wants to do to reset tariffs. So he will be addressing all of those products in Canada. The fact that Canada has a national sales tax. Another way to say it is a national tariff on our products. And we sell, they import from us very little, and we export, and they export to us huge amounts. So the idea is that's going to be reset, but that starts April 2nd.
I'm sorry. I thought Doug Ford just said it was totally fair already. No. Oh, Doug Ford is looking out for his country's interests, and we're looking out for our country's interests. It's a weird concept, right? Especially after 4 years of Biden. We're back to America first, and we're going to get the trade fair. Point blank. Donald Trump is the guy to do it. Looking forward to his triumphant return to the halls of Congress tonight. We're going to be watching that joint session of Congress live at the Nashville Palace. Tickets are still available. We want you there. You get yourself access to a full buffet, reserved seats, and some drink tickets. 997WTN.com for tickets. It is 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Yeah, it is 9:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got traffic and weather on the way. Stand by. A tense standoff appears to be over in Cane Ridge. One man was seen being taken away from a residence on Oarsman Lane moments ago. He was in handcuffs. It comes after local and federal officers were seen firing rubber bullets into a home earlier during an operation to serve an arrest warrant. More government cuts may be coming. This time around, looks like it's Social Security.
The Social Security Administration says it's planning to cut 7,000 jobs and reduce the number of its regional offices from 10 to 4. The agency offering early retirement or voluntary payouts ranging from $15,000 to $25,000 to workers who accept the offer. They have until March 14th to make a decision.
That's ABC's Selena Wang. News 2 reports the Nashville branch of the Social Security Administration on Athens Way appears to be on the list for cutting, according to Doja's Wall of Receipts. It says closing the office could save more than $700,000 over 5 years. Other offices that may be in Doja's crosshairs include the IRS National Office in Franklin and the Natural Resources Conservation Service in Gallatin. Get ready to deal with some high winds today, about 30 to 40 miles an hour. It'll blow around the trash cans and patio furniture. Then tonight, we'll be dealing with some heavy thunderstorms with a low threat that they'll turn severe. Here's Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro.
The severe threat has expanded to include much more of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Mostly a low-end threat, 1 out of 5 on that scale as we get closer to the Tennessee and Alabama border, though the severe threat does go up a little bit, a 2 out of 5 on the scale. Heavy rain and additional high wind gusts are the main concerns. Tornado threat is low, but not necessarily zero.
And stay weather alert today. That is the latest news. We've got weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
$35 minutes past the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how's it going? It's Chris Hand. You can find me on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. We got a massive night planned for you. Joint session of Congress, DJT, and we're doing the whole thing live at the Nashville Palace. We definitely want you there. Tickets are still available. There's only a few left. So if you're thinking about coming and you're teetering, you're on the fence, grab your tickets now, 997WTN.com. Get yourself some reserved seats, access to a whole buffet, and some drink tickets. Again, 997WTN.com. I just got a text from Murphy. He says this afternoon it's going to be a big show. We got Senator Haggerty around 4:30-ish, and then Senator Blackburn at 5:05. I'd be interested to see what Blackburn has to say about the Epstein files. By the way, our show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. There were some updates in the Epstein saga yesterday, and it started with this. The head of the FBI New York field office, James Dennehy, he's been forced to resign his post. That's interesting. He claims he wasn't given a reason why. But the DOJ has accused his office of refusing to hand over a trove of Epstein documents to Attorney General Pam Bondi. That's interesting. I'm paying attention. I am. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of this. Was he fired? Forced to resign? Forced out? You say tomato, I say tomato. Pam Bondi was on with Hannity last night and giving a big interview on the Epstein documents that weren't, the ones that we were disappointed that we didn't receive last week. And she said some things in this interview. So there's some newsworthy items, for sure. But part of me still wonders, why are you giving interviews? You should just wait until you actually have some information to share with the public. Just me. But there were some interesting things in here. She was expecting more info, and she was asked if they have all the info now.
We all did. And the FBI handed over a couple hundred pages of documents. But, Sean, I gave them a deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. to get us everything. And a source had told me where the documents were being kept. Southern District of New York, shock. So we got them all by, hopefully all of them, Friday at 8 a.m., thousands of pages of documents. I have the FBI going through them, and Cash is also, now that we have Cash here, it's a game changer, of course, and Cash is going to, Director Patel, is going to get us a detailed report as to why the FBI withheld all of those documents.
Okay. Liz, I still don't believe that she didn't know that they withheld all the documents. There's still part of me that believes that this was a PR strategy. They thought that they were going to have the anger just essentially aimed directly at the FBI SDNY headquarters, and it blew up in their face. I'm convinced of that on some level. She said they got thousands of documents. They have that deadline of Friday at 8 a.m. Apparently, they have thousands of more documents. But you have to understand, the Attorney General knew she didn't have everything when she got what they gave her. 200 pages. No. No. It doesn't even remotely pass the sniff test. It never passed the sniff test. She knew from the jump. Was it a strategy to get anger aimed at the FBI SDNY? Perhaps, and perhaps it blew up in their face. I tend to think that that's what happened. But everybody knows that those houses were wired for video and audio. If you give them 200 pages, that's not everything. Point blank. Now they have thousands of pages. Okay. She says, Director Patel, he's looking into it. Okay. I'm here for it. Let's find out. Let's be a little bit more patient than I was willing to be last week. I know last week I was pretty irate the way they handled that. Maybe we are going to see something. And Hannity said to her, listen, are you frustrated at the way this went down? Because Americans are frustrated at the way this went down.
I want to be clear, because I think people got frustrated because they were expecting more. You were expecting more, and you didn't find out less than 24 hours before the release. You got a whistleblower that confirmed that there were way more documents that they were supposed to turn over, and then you found out just before that.
Again, I have a hard time believing that Pam Bondi didn't know that she didn't have all the documents. I do. I take that with such a grain of salt. Maybe that's the narrative. That's the spin. That's fine. But I have a hard time believing that she thought that information they had was everything. I just don't believe it.
Well, sure. And you're looking at these documents going, these aren't all the Epstein files. There were flight logs, there were names and victims' names. And we're going, where's the rest of the stuff? And that's what the FBI had turned over to us. And so a source said, whoa, all this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York.
Yep.
So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Cash is going to get me and himself, really, a detailed report as to why all these documents and evidence had been withheld. And, we're going to go through it as fast as we can, but go through it very cautiously to protect all the victims of Epstein, because there are a lot of victims.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of victims, and I think that's why people take this so seriously. Now, a couple things. She said that she was leery. She wasn't sure that they hadn't turned over everything. But again, I still don't know why you would go into the theater, the theatrics of it all, if you knew you didn't have everything. But she said that a truckload of documents has been turned over by the FBI. A truckload. Thousands of pages. Patel is now going through it, and there's going to be a detailed report. I'm gonna hold out a little bit of hope. I'm going to keep my expectations very, very low because I don't want to be disappointed. But maybe we'll get something. Maybe. Possibly. She was asked, is the only thing you're going to redact the victims' names? And I think this is an important question because what we really want is the names of the clients. This is the largest human trafficking network in American history, right? Where we know that they were compromising politicians and elites, and we have no customers arrested currently. So you're only going to redact the victims' names, right?
You had identified in phase one over 254.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, is that the only thing that would be redacted? Will everything else be made public that you get in your possession?
Yeah, the FBI they haven't looked at the thousands of pages of documents that they've just received Friday.
Yeah.
But Cash has a team going through them, and it's always about protecting the victim. But you know what? We believe in transparency, and America has the right to know. The Biden administration sat on these documents. No one did anything with them. And why were they sitting in the Southern District of New York? I want a full report on that. Sadly, these people don't believe in transparency. But I think more, unfortunately, I think a lot of them don't believe in honesty. And it's a new day. It's a new administration. And everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
She said everything is going to come out to the public. Americans have a right to know. Damn it, I agree with that. She also calls out the Biden administration for sitting on their hands for the last 4 years, sitting on this information, doing nothing with it. I think we all understand why they sat on their hands and did nothing with it. If you look at the rumored names of people that are on the Epstein list, you understand that quite a few of them, surprisingly enough, big Democrat donors. Elon Musk calling out Reid Hoffman on the Joe Rogan podcast, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman. He was also a big Nikki Haley donor also. Weird how that works out. But okay, all right. So the American people deserve it. We're going to get it all. You call out the Biden administration. Got it. And she said that they're going to look through them as fast as they can.
Let's look through them as fast as we can, get it out to the American people, because the American people have a right to know, not only on that, but on Kennedy, on Martin Luther King, on all of these cases that the Biden administration has just sat on for all these years. So yeah, it's really, it's not sad, it's infuriating that these people thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't. It's a new day, and we believe in transparency, and it's going to come out.
Again, I just wish that we could stop with the interviews. Like I appreciate the information. Thank you for the update. Could have been an email, right? Like this could have been a memo. There's many times during this interview where if you go back and you listen to it, she goes, "Well, hopefully, like there's those disclaimers baked into the cake." I'm gonna hold out judgment. I'm gonna reserve judgment until we get a little bit further down the road, and there's no Epstein files, or there is Epstein files. We're going to have to find out one way or the other. I like that she calls out the Biden administration. Okay. But we still don't really have any actionable items. And this was supposed to be like, a day one thing, right? Day one. Anxiously awaiting the binder that says phase 2. Anxiously awaiting. And if I was a betting man, I don't think they're going to give them to online influencers this time. Brian in Clarksville wants to talk about Pam Bondi. What's up, Brian?
What's up, man? I wish I was coming tonight, but I'm not. I've never met you, but I'd love to meet you. Hope y'all have a great time. I think he's going to deliver a great State of the Union. Pam Bondi, I feel you. That's what they say in the hood. I feel you, bro. You know what? When are we going to see somebody go to jail for this?
Honestly.
That is my son has a criminal justice degree with the cop for 8 years. He's asking me, Dad, when are we going to see somebody in some bracelet?
Yeah.
He wants somebody to go to jail. He served this country as a Marine. You know, I don't understand when we're going to – it's like you say this without saying it. You say, when are we going to do something? Quit talking about it. Send an email, get the stuff, let's see it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, stop beating around the bush. And this is not Trump's way. Makes me think maybe he ain't going to keep her long if she don't get busy. I mean, Kash Patel's supposedly doing the same thing. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and Pam's been dragged ever since this Epstein stuff broke out, and people were saying, oh, well, you were also the attorney general in Florida while Epstein was doing all these crimes. So that's a bit strange. That's a little weird.
Absolute. Great point. That is a great point under DeSantis.
It's
going on in your backyard.
Yeah, it's a huge question mark, and it's definitely a smear on her right now, and as she goes through this interview, she's like, well, hopefully we'll have it all out soon. Hopefully we'll be able to get you all that information. It's like, okay, well, are you? Will you? Like, I don't want to build a boat on hopes and dreams. Like, give me some actionable items.
And I don't think you're beating them up too bad. I know you got people calling probably saying, well, we need to just give them time. And I think you're doing that as a Christian. You have grace. You can tell in your voice when you say, I'm willing to reserve judgment, but let's go.
Yeah, well, how much time do we need? Like, I remember exactly where I was when I found out that Epstein didn't kill himself in that jail cell. And it's like, it's been years and years and years since this. You got Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in a federal prison. Can she narc on some of her buddies? Like, what are we doing? Why can't we get this across the goal line?
You've got a living witness that her name don't even come up. You know, is it because she knows somebody? Is Mitch McConnell on the list?
It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if there are big Republicans on the list. And if there are big Republicans on the list, they need to be held just as much accountable as everybody else. I appreciate the call, Brian. Thank you so much, man. And we'll miss you tonight. If you do want to come to that party tonight, joint session of Congress, Nashville Palace, 997WTN.com for tickets. The whole squad is going to be there. Myself, Mandis, Murphy, Wilson, Benson, Weaver, Jones. We're rolling deep. We want you there. Tickets get you access to a buffet, get you some drink tickets, some reserved seats. It's going to be fun. Don't let a little rain scare you. 997WTN.com for tickets. I just want some damn information on Epstein. It's just been so many years. There are so many victims. And you want to know, like, are our political leaders, are they completely compromised? Honestly, like, this is a question that demands an answer. Who are you actually working for? If you're on that list, I have serious questions about if the people you're working for are the American people. I honestly do. Who ran the blackmail operation? I don't believe that Epstein was the tip of the spear, if you will. I think that Epstein was probably a little bit down on the management hierarchy. And I wonder, what country was it for? What purpose was it for? Like I don't just want clients. I want the reasons behind why that blackmail scheme was going on. I think that's what all Americans want. And hopefully Pam Bondi can get it to us. I just don't have a lot of faith after these interviews. I'll be patient. I'll be patient. But I thought we'd have it by now. I'll be perfectly honest with you. We should have had it by now. We should have had it by now. And hopefully Patel's getting in there, and as he's going through, he's coming up with a damning report. I don't think Kash Patel is afraid to come up with a damning report, but we'll see what happens. Only time is going to tell in this situation, and we'll keep you updated on it as it proceeds on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 9:50 on Super Talk. I'm Chris Hand, and I'm here for my friends at Better Water LLC. Do you have any idea what's in your water? Honestly, do you? Could be some nasty stuff. Like, we're talking E. coli, we're talking bacteria, we're talking sulfur. Just the grossest stuff could be in your water. This is the water that you're drinking. This is the water that you're bathing your kids in. You need to do better, or at least find out what's in it. Better Water LLC will test your water for free. And if you have some of that nasty stuff in your water, well, they offer a wide variety of treatment options like reverse osmosis, UV light treatment, and they have a bunch of water softeners as well. If you need to get your water tested for free, you need to do it with Better Water LLC. They're online at betterwater.com. Give them a call, ask for Craig or Brandy. Better Water LLC, betterwater.com.
You may be picking up your neighbor's trash cans today. We've got high winds here along with thunderstorms. Also, Casey Anthony, wants to put her past behind her. We'll tell you what she's up to now. Those stories coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan Jones. You know, I know what gym Casey Anthony works out at in Murfreesboro.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we've seen her.
Is she still here? Because I think she broke up with her boyfriend.
I thought she was still here.
Okay.
Maybe this is leading to the activism route. She dumped the boyfriend, and now she's going to be an activist.
Have kids and she didn't.
Was
Yeah. Stop.
It's terrible.
Jeez.
Oh, it's terrible.
Still too soon, no matter how long it's been since that happened.
It's terrible.
Yep.
Funny enough, that's the least worst thing that could happen to kids out of the topics that we've been discussing. Like, the Epstein stuff still bugs me.
Yeah.
You have people raping kids behind closed doors, elites, politicians, and we get a strongly worded letter. That's all right. Hey, to each their own. We do have a massive party tonight, Nashville Palace, 997WTN.com for tickets. Joint session of Congress, DJT, Matt Murphy will be cutting his hair. Now, I've asked this question a couple times. I have not received clarification. Murphy said he would do a buzz cut if it was a sellout. So, does that mean that everybody has to show up? Or does that just mean all tickets are sold?
Oh, I see. That's a good question.
I think it's all tickets are sold.
That's all.
There was already a guy who called in a little earlier and wanted to give his ticket away because he's sick and can't go.
There was no fine print saying that everybody there had to be butts in seats.
A sellout means there's no more tickets to buy.
So I feel like we got some good clients that could step in and buy the remainder of those tickets to make Murphy shave his whole head. Looking at you, Paul Winkler. I know Paul Winkler manages his money well. He would probably say to me, Chris, that's not a good investment. But what can we expect from the speech tonight? Carolyn Levitt was on Fox News moments ago talking about that joint session of Congress that we're looking forward to watching with you tonight at the Nashville Palace.
We're so excited. It's a big day and it's a big night for President Trump. And we know he's going to give a fantastic speech. The theme is the renewal of the American dream. And the renewal of the American dream is underway already. Look at all that President Trump has accomplished in his first month as president. He's going to highlight some of those accomplishments. He's also going to talk about his plans to fix the economic mess that was created and left for him by Joe Biden in his administration. He's going to dive into foreign policy, talk about his intention to end the war in Ukraine, talk about his plan to bring all of the hostages out of Gaza home. And he's also going to make an ask of Congress tonight. We need more border funding to continue with these deportations that have been incredibly successful because of the efforts of this administration, but we need more resources.
That's Carolyn Levitt on what to expect tonight with Donald J. Trump as he addresses a joint session of Congress. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, touting the accomplishments of the last month. You would think like, oh, it's only been a month. What could you say? Well, you could talk about the drastic drop in border crossings. You could talk about the $1.7 trillion in investments by companies in America in a month. He had $20 billion from Hussein Sajewani, $500 billion over 4 years from Apple, $500 billion over 4 years from Stargate, $600 billion from Saudi Arabia, $100 billion from Taiwan Semiconductor. It's insane. It's insane. In a month. In a month. This could be a fantastic speech tonight. We're looking forward to watching it with you. 997WTN.com for tickets. And we're talking about, the Ukraine conflict. He's going to address that tonight. We'll address that when we get back. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 10 o'clock on the dot. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A wind advisory has been issued for the Nashville area all the way through 6 o'clock tomorrow night. We're expecting winds that could gust higher than 40 miles an hour. And then tonight comes the thunderstorms. Right now, Channel 4's Stefano DiPietro tells us these storms could be strong to isolated severe thunderstorms. And they'll arrive just in time for supper.
Between about 3 and 5 o'clock, the storms are developing. They're near the I-65 corridor. Also around dinner time, between about 6 and 7 o'clock, moving into the Cumberland Plateau between 6 and 9 o'clock. Before midnight, most of this will taper off, and we should completely dry things out, at least briefly, for that morning commute tomorrow.
He's also talking about maybe a little bit of snow flurries after the storms clear out tomorrow. Crazy. Nashville Electric Service says it does have crews on standby for any power outages caused by the wind and the storms today and tonight. NES says it does not expect widespread outages, but there could be areas that temporarily lose power. NES reminds everyone to stay at least 30 feet away from any downed power lines. A man from Brentwood under arrest, charged with threatening to firebomb the federal courthouse in Nashville within the next 2 weeks. 35-year-old Alexander Thompson reportedly made those threats on social media posts and through emails. He was arrested at his workplace in Goodlettsville. Police say when he was arrested, he admitted to making the threats and to his intent to carry out the attack. The federal government is set to run out of money at the end of next Friday, March 14th. Hopes of a full funding deal have faded, so Congress has fallen back on a short-term bill to keep the government open through the end of the fiscal year. Politico, however, is reporting senior House Democrats are pushing for a government shutdown. They see it as a way to take a stand against Elon Musk's efforts to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. Casey Anthony wants to turn the page. She has emerged on TikTok this week, rebranding herself as a legal advocate.
As a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008.
2008, when her daughter went missing outside of Orlando and was later found dead. She's been acquitted of Kaylee Anthony's death. It's not clear, though, if she's still living here in Tennessee after having broken up with her married boyfriend. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
.05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. The Ukraine stuff has been wild. The Democrats absolutely figured out what the word of the day was yesterday.
It was a pathetic ambush. I think a mugging, a bait and switch.
Critics have been outraged by what seemed to be an Oval Office ambush.
An Oval Office ambush of an American ally.
What can only be described as a total ambush of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
An ambush, you called it one of the grimmest days of American diplomacy.
This was a calculated political ambush. I don't think this was a accidental interchange that escalated. This was calculated.
It was an ambush. I mean, this was a plan. This was a politically calculated ambush.
Maybe, as some have speculated, that show was some kind of premeditated ambush.
It had the feelings at times, Dana, of an ambush.
Some people are wondering if this was an ambush.
I don't know. What's the word of the day for Democrats? Any idea?
It was, I think, an ambush. And I think it was a premeditated ambush for political points.
Was this an ambush? An ambush, by definition, would be premeditated, right? Like it was not just an ambush; it was a premeditated ambush. Nailed it.
An ambush. Was this pre-planned? Did Vance go in there as an agent provocateur and try and provoke Zelensky?
That was an ambushing of our ally.
What we just witnessed between Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and President Zelensky inside the White House was an ambush.
You know, now that you put it that way, I still don't believe a word that the Democrats say. Did they watch the whole thing? Did they watch the entire 50 minutes of that White House interaction? I mean, if eye rolling was an Olympic sport, Zelensky would have gotten the gold. It was unbelievable. He was a petulant child the entire time, huffing and puffing, like my daughter in the back seat when I say we're not getting McDonald's on the way home from play practice. Like there's no other way to describe it. He was a little baby, and nobody's going to ask me a question. It's like no, nobody really cares what you have to say.
That entire montage does an excellent example too of showing how distributed these talking points are.
Oh yeah.
That's everybody's using the same language. Everybody's trying to make the same point.
Yep. It's propaganda. Like, just repeat it, drill it into the American psyche. Don't fall for it. I know you won't. You're too smart. But a lot of people do believe it was an ambush. It was an ambush. Did you see the video of the grown man crying? Did you see that one? It's been going viral. There's like this guy crying. He's a grown man. He's just crying. He's just so broken up about how they treated Zelensky. He's just tearing up. It's like, that man's a hero. And then come to find out the guy that was crying on the TikTok video that went viral, he's got a couple assault charges for beating up ladies. Weird Democrats. But listen, do we not agree with Donald Trump here? Was Donald Trump not in the right? It was an ambush. No, it wasn't. Trump wanted to sign a minerals deal. It was the third opportunity to sign the mineral deal. And Zelensky tried to relitigate that deal in front of the American media. He acted like a clown. I liked what we saw. We got to see it play out in real time in front of everyone, what usually is reserved for backroom meetings. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm here for it. And as of today, is the mineral deal back on? Is it off? Yesterday, Peter Doocy was saying, no, it's off.
I have been told by a senior official here that nothing's going to happen with this minerals deal until Zelensky goes in front of cameras and makes an explicit public apology for the way that he behaved himself, behaved in the Oval Office with that meeting.
Do you think Zelensky's going to go in front of cameras and apologize? I doubt it. Now, Zelensky's not afraid of going in front of cameras. Usually it's just when he's wearing high heels and doing some sort of dance routine. But I don't think he's willing to embarrass himself to the next level of having to apologize to Donald Trump. Right? Like, it's just that's not in the cards. So then where do we go from here? Well, yesterday, Trump halted Ukraine aid. I love it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Money's drying up. Senior Defense Department official who spoke anonymously about internal discussions told Bloomberg that the aid freeze will remain in place until Trump determines that Ukrainian leaders are making a genuine effort towards peace. The White House official confirmed the pause in aid, telling PBS in a statement, President Trump has been clear that he is focused on peace. We need our partners to be committed to that goal as well. We are pausing and reviewing our aid to ensure that it is contributing to a solution. We're not going to throw good money after bad any longer. Point blank, period. And Zelensky, if you want to get some money, well, you got to pucker up. You got to apologize, man. Plain and simple. No more aid for Ukraine. I love it. And Zelensky's already panicking today, but the no aid stuff, this is how you get peace through strength.
Reporting the United States is pausing all U.S. military aid to Ukraine until President Trump determines the Ukrainians show a commitment of good faith peace negotiations. That's according to a senior Trump administration telling Fox. This is not a permanent termination of aid. It is a pause. The orders are going out right now. The official said this in response to Ukrainian President Zelensky's conduct over the last week and his words over the weekend. So it's all stopping, Brian.
Yeah, well, he needs an apology. President Trump says, I need a direct apology. This can be fixed with a phone call. Sorry if things went off the rails. Like the first 45 minutes of our talk, didn't like the last 10. So let's get this thing back on track. I understand what you mean, and let's do it. And then you put the ball in Russia's court, and let's see how sincere they are. But it's going to take a call from Zelensky to Trump directly, and I'm sure he'd take the call. The guy does not hold grudges.
I don't know. Is Trump going to take the call? Probably. I think he wants a more public apology in front of the cameras. But Zelensky is officially backing down from Trump just hours after U.S. paused all military aid to Ukraine. He thanks Trump for helping Ukraine. He said, "My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We remember the moment when things changed, when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. We are grateful for this." Do you trust Zelensky? I don't. I don't know how you can trust Zelensky at this point. So aid is still paused currently. Zelensky is trying to return to the table with his tail between his legs. And then we're also finding out that Trump is going to be leaning into and looking into the fraud with that money that's been sent to Ukraine. And there's been rumors. There's been rumors that they're getting military equipment and then they're selling it on the black market to the highest bidder. And it doesn't matter who that is. It could be terrorists. It could be cartel organizations. It doesn't matter. If that's happening, I mean, that's insanity. And we have some real issues with Ukraine at that point. We do. But Trump said yesterday, Zelensky should be more appreciative with the United States because without us, listen, this war wouldn't have lasted 2 weeks.
What do you need to see from President Zelensky to restart these negotiations?
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us because, as you know, that's right there. That's the border. This country really was like the fence on the border. It was very important to Europe, and I'm not knocking Europe. I'm saying that they were a lot smarter than Joe Biden because Joe Biden didn't have a clue. He just gave money hand over fist, and they should have been able to equalize with us.
He said Europe was a lot smarter than Joe Biden. It's a low bar. It's a low bar, but they cleared it.
In other words, if we gave $1, they should have given. Well, we gave $350 billion. They probably gave $100, but on top of it all, they get their money back because they're doing it in the form of a loan, and it's a secured loan. So when I saw that, which I've known about for a little while, I said it's time for us to be smart. At the same time, it's great for them because they get us in the country taking the rare earth, which is going to fuel this big engine, and especially the engine that we've in a very short time created, and we get something, and we're there. We have a presence there.
This is what Scott Bessent said the other day on Fox News as well. The whole point of the rare earth minerals deal is to show Russia that there's no daylight between Ukraine and the United States, that we are intertwined and we have a partnership here, and it's going to provide backing from the U.S. I mean, we want that ROI. It's simple. Zelensky threw all of that away. Like, do you think Russia understands today that there is some daylight between Ukraine and the United States? Like, yeah, absolutely. Anybody with half a brain paying attention to that understands. This needs to be fixed quick if Ukraine wants us to continue backing them.
With all of that being said, I want one thing to happen. I want all of those young people to stop being killed. They're being killed by the thousands every single week. Last week, 2,700 were killed. 2,700 young, in this case, just about all young boys from Ukraine and from Russia. And that's not young people from the United States, but it's on a human basis. I want to see it stop. The money is one thing, but the death. And they're losing thousands of soldiers a week. And that's not including the people that get killed every time a town goes down or a missile goes into a town. And I want to see it stop.
We all want to see it stop. And you can see the videos. I mean, they're losing so many soldiers in Ukraine. They're just snatching people off the streets. Like, you look old enough to hold a rifle. Get over here. And they're grabbing men and throwing them into the back of vans. Yeah, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Trump is the president to make that happen. He's always been the president to make that happen. I don't understand why Zelensky has such a hang-up about this. Do you want your citizens to continue dying, or do you want peace? It's a very, very simple question, right? And it seems like he hates Russia more than he loves Ukrainians. Okay, listen, if that's what you want to do, okay. But we can't be privy to that anymore. We can't be funding that anymore. We can't be throwing away billions upon billions of dollars any longer. This seems very simple. It seems very simple to everybody that's paying attention to it. Now, if you listen to the deranged leftists on CNN, they'll tell you that $300 billion, well, that's just crumbs. Crumbs. Yep. This is Alencia Johnson last night on the Abby Phillips show.
Republicans like to use this word disrespectful, entitlement. When people disagree with them and push back, it becomes this, you're being disrespectful, and you should be grateful for these crumbs that we are giving you. When this president is literally fighting for his life.
Crumbs. $300+ billion. Crumbs. Tell that to the people who had their homes destroyed in Lahaina in Hawaii. Tell that to the people in Western North Carolina living in tents. Tell that to the people in California who have had their entire lives turned upside down by the wildfires. I mean, what's going on in South Carolina right now with the wildfires? Let's tell those people that $300 billion is crumbs. This is your brain on TDS.
But the reality is the softening up on Putin. He doesn't have to say what J.D. Vance said of, like, we should give Putin a Nobel Peace Prize. Just the mannerisms and the way that Donald Trump has decided to deal with Putin versus some of our allies that actually need our support is alarming. And it is mind-boggling that Republicans cannot agree with that fact.
I love it. Oh, you agree with Putin? I channel my inner Muhammad Ali. Putin never called me no Nazi. All right.
Ask you a question. How, in your mind, how does this end? How do you want it to end? Right.
Well, it doesn't end with you berating what should be an ally.
No, I'm asking you how the war ends. How does the killing stop?
There's negotiations behind the scenes. Behind the scenes.
You got to get to the table.
You got to get to the table, but you cannot berate someone in the way that they did to Zelensky.
But listen, we wanted those negotiations to happen behind the scenes, and Zelensky wanted to litigate it in front of the American media, at which point he was smacked down. Ruthlessly smacked down. And he deserved to be. 100% deserved that smackdown. Pete in Nashville wants to talk about Ukraine. What's up, Pete?
Yeah, brother. Last night I saw some replay of Channel 5 that comes off of Fox. They mentioned Jesse Waters. You've heard of him.
Yep.
Straight up said, you can look it up on YouTube or the news. The Democrats got a hold of Zelensky before the meeting with Trump, and Schumer in particular told him not to make a deal. That's where we're at. They blocked it, so that's sort of treasonous in a way, going over Trump's head, over the president's authority. So yeah, what's your thoughts on that? And it's a fact. It's not made up. That's the reason we can't get a deal done. We still have infiltration of hard left radicals. So yeah, and they'll be on display tonight when Trump has his speech, all dressed up like a circus.
Yep.
So yeah, we live in a different time, bro. So,
no, I'm with you, and I agree, and I appreciate the call, Pete. Yeah, Democrats got in Zelensky's ear. Senator Chris Murphy was talking about getting in Zelensky's ear. I think some Warhawk Republicans got in his ear too. But the difference is currently, as it stands, the Democrats hold no power in this country. They don't have any power. Europe, I mean, as much as Europe is grandstanding, like, oh, we're going to back Ukraine, we're going to put boots on the ground and jets in the air. You heard Keir Starmer saying that yesterday. Okay, Europe holds no power here. They don't. If Zelensky wants peace that will last, there's only one option, and it's the negotiating table with Donald J. Trump. If you think that you can hold out for another 4 years and hope and pray that a Democrat will regain power so that way you can have the bottomless piggy bank reopened, good luck. Good luck. Without the U.S.'s backing, Ukraine doesn't stand a chance here. None. You got to get on board, plain and simple. I don't know if Zelensky will. He seems too hard-headed to do it. But we'll find out one way or the other. And the approval of Donald Trump versus Joe Biden when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war, heavily in Donald Trump's favor. We'll talk about that when we get back. Plus, we'll play some clips. Oh, okay. We're off air due to an EAS alert, but we're still on the stream. How come I didn't hear the EAS in my ear? That's weird. Are you still dealing with EAS in there? But anyway, on the way, we'll play some clips from this new poll that came out talking about who's doing better when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war, according to the American people, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Plus, plus J.D. Vance gave an awesome interview last night with Sean Hannity. I'll bring you all the clips from that as well when we return right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And we'll be back in a moment with more news from Russia, Ukraine. We got an awesome interview with J.D. Vance and Sean Hannity last night, plus new poll numbers on who's dealing with it better, Joe Biden or Donald Trump. I'll bring that to you as well. But first, I got to tell you about my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Do you have health insurance? Do you need health insurance? You don't want to be taken advantage of by call center agents with limited overpriced coverage. There's a lot of those. You don't need it. What you need to do is talk to Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. He has over 20 years of experience in health insurance, and he's going to shop the entire market for you to find the best plan for you. In fact, he has over 75 different companies to shop from. He can easily be saving you 30 to 60% on your monthly premiums, and some of the plans will even pay you when you use them. It's not too good to be true. Talk to Shane today. It doesn't matter your income level. It doesn't matter your health status. Shane can be saving you some money. Call Shane Ring today over at Cover Nash. Let him know that Chris Hand sent you, 615-465-0023, or the website, covernash.com. That's 615-465-0023 to book an appointment with Shane Ring. Get a quality health plan managed by you, not the government, covernash.com. 26 minutes past the hour. Thank you, Joan Jones. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Got a text here from 4175. Here's the view from a Cold War veteran. We've fought proxy wars since 1950. This one has been our most successful. The Ukrainian military under Zelensky has destroyed half of Russia's military. We didn't lose a single service member. Peace? Consider this as an alternative. Zelensky wants peace, but doesn't want to give up the 3 provinces as well as Crimea. Would you give up Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina after being invaded so that we could have peace?
Can we switch that to California, New York, and what else? What's our third choice?
Let's give them Rhode Island.
Or Jersey. Nobody cares about Jersey.
Nobody likes Jersey. I'm waiting for her to chime in. All right, so but I said to this guy, I said, which American city would you trade for Kyiv? You know, if we don't get peace, we're knocking on the door of World War III. So when nukes start flying, which American city are you willing to trade for Kyiv? Which one? And no, I'm not a fan of proxy wars. Like I don't like this stuff. We're giving away hundreds of billions of dollars. No American lives have been lost, he says. Okay, but 700,000 Ukrainians, 800,000 Russians, that's over 1 million people. This is ridiculous. Too many lives have been lost. The war needs to stop. Gary in Nashville on Ukraine, you're next. What's up, man?
Well, Chris, the way I see it from my chair, this thing is over. Putin has dug in and said he's not going to give back the land that he's taken. The president is cutting off the military aid. Zelensky says he'll sign the minerals thing. This thing is done. He's got nowhere to go. He's on the tip of the spear. It seems like to me everybody's dug in, and Putin is saying, I'll meet you at the table, but I'm not giving back the land.
Yeah, I hear you, Gary, and I'm here for it. And it seems to me like the American people overwhelmingly agree with Donald Trump's position as well. This is from CNN, their chief data analyst, Harry Enton.
Well, I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on.
It's Gulf of America. Just let the record show. Don't dead name the Gulf of America, okay?
He's at +2. So, look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
Donald Trump's doing all right on this. Yep. And J.D. Vance made that point last night with Sean Hannity. A fantastic interview about Ukraine and Zelensky in particular. I'll bring you those highlights when we get back. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You want to join the conversation, 615-737-9986, or you can always jump into one of the chats, either the text line, that's the same number, or over on YouTube where we're live. The most red-pilled chat in all of YouTube is over on the Super Talk 99.7 WTN page. Hit like and subscribe while you're there. My kids want to go to summer camp, and I told them that's not happening until we get those likes and those subscriptions up. So it's on you. It's on you at this point. If you want them to go to summer camp, hit like, hit subscribe. I do appreciate it. We're talking about Ukraine. Apparently, the American people trust Donald Trump more than Joe Biden. Shocker, I know, when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. And Trump, he says he's not putting up with Zelensky's anti-peace rhetoric much longer. This is the worst statement that could have been made by Zelensky, and America will not put up with it for much longer. It is what I was saying. This guy doesn't want there to be peace as long as he has America's backing in Europe. In the meeting they had with Zelensky, stated flatly that they cannot do the job without the U.S. Probably not a great statement to have been made in terms of a show of strength against Russia. What are they thinking? The statement that Donald Trump is posting about is Vladimir Zelensky saying, end of war with Russia is very, very far away. Yeah, it's not really the thing you want to do when you're trying to get peace, right? Yeah, we want peace, months, years down the road as the meat grinder continues processing the bodies. Yeah. It's a dumb statement. I don't know why he would make that statement. Maybe the rumors of cocaine addiction are true. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a cocaine addiction expert. I'm not a doctor.
Maybe he gave Trump syphilis.
Maybe. Did you hear that yesterday?
Yes, that was so ridiculous.
James Carville. Did anybody?
That's a nut. And Carville for a leftist, Carville can usually sound reasonable.
I couldn't believe he said that, but then I wasn't exactly shocked. Hold on, just in case anybody wasn't keeping score at home. This was James Carville yesterday describing the Trump-Zelensky beatdown.
What you saw is madness. And I don't mean madness like I'm mad at you, you mad at me, you didn't say this. I'm talking about madness like King George III kind of madness. And it could be a combination of being a fat fucking slob, which of course he is. It could be that he's can't sleep at night because his beached whale body can't allow the circulation it needs. I don't know. I'm not a sleep specialist or a medical doctor.
Oh, that's good.
But I think we should revisit the possibility of a syphilis diagnosis.
Okay, we should. Let's revisit it. Let's revisit that possibility. This was a blue and on conspiracy theory for years while Trump was in office, right? He's got the syphilis. This is how you know the Democrats have no legs to stand on, right? When the reaction and the coverage of the Trump-Zelensky beatdown in the White House is, it must be syphilis. It's like, okay, you've lost the plot. I know. That's James Carville, the raging Cajun. We probably shouldn't play him anymore. He's just not relevant. He's hysterical. Like I think he's one of the funniest guys out there. But he's trying to be serious. I think that's what makes it so funny to me. But it doesn't make much sense. It must be syphilis. It's got to be this. He's got to have the syphilis. Okay. If you want real analysis on what happened with Trump and Zelensky, well, look no further than J.D. Vance last night on Hannity.
And I do think that there was just a certain sense of, there was a lack of respect, there was a certain sense of entitlement, and most importantly, look, we can look past all of that stuff, but the president has set a very clear goal for his administration. He wants the killing to stop. And I think that it's very important that President Zelensky and, of course, President Putin, too, they've both got to come to the negotiating table, and that's ultimately where things broke apart. I really don't care what President Zelensky says about me or anybody else, but he showed a clear unwillingness to engage in the peace process that President Trump has said is the policy of the American people and of their president. That's the real breakdown. Is I think Zelensky wasn't yet there, and I think frankly now still isn't there, but I think he'll get there eventually. He has to.
He has to. I mean, if the money's going to be cut off, Trump and Vance, they've cut aid to Ukraine. Zelensky has since acted like a wounded dog and wanted to let everybody know how appreciative he is of everything. And it's like, okay, miss us with that. Yeah, like now you want to tell us how much you appreciate it. Now you want to outline how grateful you are once the money dries up. It's like, no, it shouldn't work that way. Do you want peace or do you not? That's what we need to be focused on. Zelensky was just a child inside that White House meeting. There's no way around it. Watch the whole thing if you disagree. Watch the eye rolls. Watch the huff and the puff. Watch him just frumping in his seat like he's like a 10-year-old. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But Vance said last night with Hannity, Trump is taking a realistic perspective on this. Trump isn't, he doesn't have visions of a happy rainbow land of peace where Zelensky and Putin are frolicking and holding hands. Like that's not the reality of the situation. He's going in with a reality-based perspective.
Sean, I think our European friends, frankly, are being really, they're doing a disservice to the Ukrainians because their own populations are saying, we're not going to fund this war indefinitely. The American people are saying, we don't want to fund the war indefinitely. So the only thing that is in the best interest of America, of Russia, of Ukraine, and of Europe is to bring this thing to a close. What happened, Sean, is you have Zelensky. He goes to Europe, and a lot of our European friends puff him up. They say, you're a freedom fighter. You need to keep fighting forever. Well, fighting forever with what? With whose money, with whose ammunition, and with whose lives? The president is actually taking a much more realistic perspective and saying this can't go on forever. We can't fund this thing forever. The Ukrainians can't fight forever. So let's bring this thing to a peaceful settlement.
I mean, yeah, it's very easy to say I'm going to fight forever when you're not the one doing the fighting, you're not the one paying for it, and you're just getting puffed up by the Europeans. I mean, that's an easy thing to do. I'll keep fighting. I mean, Zelensky's got to be living a pretty comfy life right now. Is he not? He doesn't have much to worry about. The checks are still rolling in. Well, they were until Trump cut them off. But we need to focus on peace. That's the moral of the story here. Zelensky doesn't want to focus on peace. That's where the focus needs to be. And he probably weakened his position at the negotiating table with Russia based on that spat in the White House on Friday. Plain and simple. But Vance says, listen, I'm not worried about what you say about me or about Trump. We're still focused on peace. And I like that. Listen, he's gonna be a little bit butthurt, Zelensky, but take everything he says with a grain of salt. Let's continue focusing on peace. And Vance said that's what the whole point of Friday was supposed to be. He said it was supposed to be a rah-rah get-together. We're signing the minerals deal. Like this is step one towards that peace. And then Zelensky couldn't handle that moment.
You're exactly right, Sean. When the Ukrainians came to Washington on Friday, it was supposed to be ceremonial. There had been some public back and forth, some disagreements, some words spoken in public. And the president was like, let's have this moment. We give some credit to the brave Ukrainian fighters. And of course, it's a very brave army that they have there in Ukraine. Let's sign this minerals deal, which importantly does two things. It allows the American people to get some of their money back, but it also shows the Ukrainian people that America has a long-term investment in their sovereignty. You do those things, we'll sign this thing, we'll have a rah-rah moment, and then we'll get to the tough talk of negotiating peace. We couldn't even get the Ukrainians to a point where they could talk about the peaceful settlement. And look, in some ways, Sean, I get it. I get the frustration. I get the rage. It's their country. Of course, it's not our country. But you've got to accept, cooler heads have got to prevail. This thing cannot go on forever. This is the important point. I'd say this to our, of course, most importantly, the Americans who are watching, but people all over the world. When you talk to leaders in private, whether they're Ukrainian or European, when you talk to people in private, they will tell you this cannot go on forever. There aren't enough Ukrainian lives, there isn't enough American money, and there isn't enough ammunition to fund this thing indefinitely. The only realistic pathway to bringing this thing to a settlement is President Trump's pathway. We encourage both President Zelensky and President Putin to follow that path.
That's the only way. We can't just keep going. Again, 700,000 Ukrainians lost. About 800,000 Russians lost. About over a million, almost 1.5 million people, right? Am I doing napkin math right? It's insane. It's insane. The money's going to run out. The ammo's going to run out. And in Ukraine, the people are going to run out. And you're seeing that happen in real time. You've seen the videos all over social media. A bunch of Ukrainian soldiers grabbing a man off the street as his mother cries because he's old enough to hold a rifle, and they're sending him to the front lines. They've run out of people. This just can't keep going. And Zelensky can act like a child. Maybe we need somebody else in there other than Zelensky. You know, I'm not a regime change guy.
President Trump has said,
I understand that the United States had a hand in getting the last regime changed in Ukraine. Maybe they should do it again. You know, they've lost the support of the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the war hawks, the neocons who never find a country that they don't want to bomb. That's a bad look. It's a bad look. It's a bad look when President Trump is essentially extending an olive branch to you to get you out of this conflict, and you act like a 3-year-old throwing a temper tantrum in the White House. Peace is the only option.
President Trump has said clearly and consistently of course, the door is open so long as Zelensky is willing to seriously talk peace. You can't come into the Oval Office or anywhere else and refuse to even discuss the details of a peace deal. Look, this is not going to make anybody happy. The Russians are going to have to give up stuff. The Ukrainians are going to have to give up stuff. You can't come to the Oval Office and say, give us security guarantees. We won't even engage with you about what we're willing to give up. That's been the Ukrainian posture. When that posture changes, as President Trump said, when they're willing to talk peace, I think President Trump will be the first person to pick up the phone.
Yeah, honestly, when you're ready, when you're ready, we can have a conversation. I keep going back with Zelensky to this is like how I parent my kids. Like, okay, when you calm down, you can come down from your room and we can talk about what happened. Once you calm down, we're not going to have a good conversation until you calm down. The same can be true with Zelensky. If you don't want to talk peace, there's no point in talking. Bill in Nashville, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, Bill?
Hey, how are you today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for holding. What's up?
What I would like to see, and it would need to be something with visuals like this address to Congress, so the American public, and even more so, the Ukrainian population, especially those that have lost family members in this war, I would like to see the estates that have been purchased by the hierarchy in Ukraine, the summer homes, the luxury cars, the yachts. I want to see pictures of that so we have a good idea of where our money is actually going.
Yep.
Forget about this, this talking about the war, whatever. Just show what we've actually been paying and correlate the purchases or the best guess of when those purchases happened, so that there's a parallel with the flush of capital going into that damn country to these insane purchases around the globe of incredible luxury items. All of this is what they've done at the sacrifice of A, our capital, and B, their citizens.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bill. And Trump has said that he's going to look into the fraud, and I appreciate the call. He said they're going to deep dive into the fraud. You know, there's a lot of rumors that, you're buying summer homes, you're buying luxury cars, getting a lot of property in Europe. There was rumors that there was property in California. I don't know how true it is, but I've seen these reports as well, as much as the next guy. They're everywhere. There's also reports that they're getting our military equipment and then they're selling it to the highest bidder. And it doesn't matter if they're terrorists or cartels. Yeah, I've seen those reports too. I'm not sure how accurate they are, but would it surprise you if it was true? No, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. No, nothing would surprise me. But you got one option right now, and the option's peace. And Donald Trump is willing to pick up the phone if Zelensky's willing to call. It's 10:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we get back, you got to listen to this coordinated messaging by the Democrats. Now, the word of the day yesterday was ambush, and we played those clips and just every single talking head in the media. Oh, Zelensky and Trump, it was an ambush. Oh, I heard it was a premeditated ambush. It was an extraordinary ambush. Well, they've gotten new talking points for today. This one focuses on Donald J. Trump's speech tonight. We're going to be watching that speech with you at the Nashville Palace. Tickets are still available if you want to come. But I think tickets are like $40. You get access to a buffet, reserved seating, some drink tickets. It's going to be a blast. Myself, Mandis, Murphy, Benson, Wilson, Weaver, Jones. The whole squad's coming, and we want you there, 997WTN.com for tickets. But when we get back, I'm going to play you the coordinated messaging campaign. I say coordinated messaging campaign. You can hear propaganda from the Democrats in regards to DJT's speech tonight. It's 10:51 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
A Brentwood man is under arrest after online threats to bomb downtown Nashville. We'll tell you about it at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 56 minutes past the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We have an awesome party lined up tonight, Nashville Palace. We want you there. The entire WTN crew is going to be in attendance to watch a joint session of Congress and DJT, a fantastic speech, and also to watch Matt Murphy get his head shaved bald. We have to have a sellout for Murphy to have his head shaved bald. 997WTN.com for tickets. Now, I didn't hear any fine print that you had to show up in order for Murphy to have his head shaved. You just need to have all the tickets sold. So if we don't get a sellout by mid-afternoon, I'm going to start calling some of our high-profile clients. Say, you can make this happen. This can be you. The Democrats are already losing it. They're unhinged and they're radicals. Now, yesterday the word of the day was ambush. Okay, that's how they described the Zelensky Trump White House confrontation. It was an ambush. Today they have new talking points, and we now have 22 of the laziest Democrat propagandists spreading the same exact video with the same exact script. And this is downright embarrassing. It's called Bleep That Ain't True. It's a SH blank T that ain't true. And it's Donald Trump in the beginning of this TikTok video. And then the senator comes on after and tells you why it isn't true.
Immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just saw. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are up, not down. Inflation is getting worse. Prices of groceries, gas, housing, and rent, and even eggs. Costs are all getting more expensive.
Okay, so that's Senator Mark Kelly. Oh, everything's getting worse. 30 days. I love the energy on grocery prices and housing prices and rent and eggs. After 4 years under Joe Biden, now they're concerned about this kind of stuff. Now, maybe if it had been just one Democrat, I would let it slide. Maybe I wouldn't just play Senator Mark Kelly to play Senator Mark Kelly and drag him. Maybe I would, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it wasn't just one Democrat. We are now up to 22 Democrat senators who have published the exact same video with the exact same script. The consultant class in D.C. needs to be fired. Listen to this.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
You ever remember that video where it was local news and they're reading that statement, and then it's like another local news channel reading the exact same statement, and then another local news channel, and then by the end of it you have the entire screen filled with all of these local news channels reading the exact same statement about how misinformation and disinformation is dangerous. That's what this video looks like. You got, all of the big ones and then a few no-name losers as well. But they're all reading the exact same script. Oh, Trump is so bad. Trump is so evil. Nothing is getting fixed. Please don't enjoy his speech tonight. Please ignore the $1.7 trillion in private investments in the country since he took office on January 20th. Please. Trust us. Have you seen the price of eggs lately? That's all the Democrats have. 22 Democrat senators posting videos online with the exact same script. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk. And if you want to come to our party tonight, tickets are still available. Nashville Palace, joint session of Congress, the entire WTN crew, 997WTN.com for tickets.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And we are bracing for a wind advisory starting at noon today. Going to be gusty winds all day. Tracking the potential for severe storms tonight. High chance for thunderstorms in Middle Tennessee, but low threat of anything severe. Right now, the main impacts would be damaging winds and heavy rain. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Right now in Middle Tennessee, a man is under arrest for allegedly posting online threats to firebomb the Fred D. Thompson U.S. Courthouse and Federal Building in downtown Nashville. 35-year-old Alexander Thompson of Brentwood arrested at work after Metro detectives said threats were made through emails and social media posts from accounts belonging to Thompson. Police say Thompson admitted to it, has since been charged with terrorism and false reporting. He's in custody on a $100,000 bond, and police say the investigation's still active. Several breaking news alerts say Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky is ready to sign a minerals deal with the U.S. and proposed a limited truce since Friday's blow-up in the Oval Office.
In a lengthy post on X, the Ukrainian president says he and his team stand ready to work under, quote, President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. Volodymyr Zelensky says he's ready to end the war with an immediate truce, adding his country does really value how much America has done to help. Friday's meeting did not go the way it was supposed to, Zelensky adds, calling that regrettable. He says it is time to make things right.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau quoted as saying the tariffs which President Trump imposed are, quote, very dumb, and he vows Canada will not back down from a fight.
We two friends fighting is exactly what our opponents around the world want to see.
Meanwhile, Karen Travers says stocks tumbled for a second day in a row.
He is talking about Mexico and Canada doing more on migration of people and also the moving of fentanyl across the border. Canada is still perplexed as to why they're being targeted on the issue of fentanyl and has been pushing back strongly on why they're being lumped in with Mexico on this.
If these tariffs stay in place, economists expect you to start see price hikes by Memorial Day. For groceries, it could be within weeks or even days. Renewed concern about immigrant children being separated from their families. ABC's Rachel Scott was embedded with ICE operations in Virginia overnight. Asked officials about 2 minors found inside a home with their undocumented uncle after authorities arrested another man in that same home who they say had been convicted of sexual battery and entered the country illegally. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem.
This family, we don't know what other family members they have. That's why he has 2 days to go locate them and make sure these kids are with someone in their family that they believe will keep them safe and set a better example for them.
There is that likelihood that these families could be separated.
There is consequences, and we're giving him time to leave these children with someone else.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. $11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand. You can listen to us wherever you go with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app, and you can watch us on Super Talk TV. We are live on Twitch, Facebook, X, and YouTube. YouTube's our personal favorite. That's where we got the chat going. And if you want to join that, while you're over there, hit like and subscribe. My kids need some new shoes, and they want to go to summer camp. I said, until we get the likes up, you're barefoot, kid.
So help us out. Hit like, hit subscribe. We do appreciate it. We have a huge party tonight, Nashville Palace. We want you there. Joint session of Congress. Donald J. Trump. Murphy is going to be in the building at 3 o'clock doing his entire show out there live. He's got Senator Haggerty on his show today, as well as Senator Blackburn. Looking forward to that. That's at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock, respectively. And we're going to be all in attendance to watch Donald J. Trump return to the halls of Congress and give a joint session speech. It's going to be awesome. And maybe you're not into speeches. Maybe you're just showing up for the haircut. That's going to be awesome as well. Murphy is cutting his locks of Trump. Do you know what day it is for locks of Trump? I bet you know.
It's got to be close to 700 at this point, because it was just over, or maybe we're right at no, it's not at 700. It's right over a year, I think.
Okay.
Like just over a year.
72 days.
We'll go with that. 372.
372 days. It's worth the price of admission to see Murphy get his haircut. I'm still in the firm Murphy needs a mullet camp. I think it would look smooth.
I'd love to see the buzz cut, though.
I would like to see the buzz cut as well. Although he made the argument that his head is awfully lumpy.
Yeah, he's been saying that for years, and I've never seen it, so I'm not sure if I should believe it. You know, he buzzes his hair. If it's lumpy, we'll let him grow it back.
Democrats are going to be boycotting the speech. You know, a local favorite, Heidi Campbell. She is actually boycotting the speech, and I invited her. I said, "Don't boycott the speech. Come hang out with some of Tennessee's finest patriots at the Nashville Palace." I didn't hear anything back, so
shocker.
I'll save her a seat. And it's not just your local Democrats that are upset that Donald Trump has the audacity to give a speech. Senate Democrats are upset as well. And we're up to 22 Senate Democrats posting a video with the exact same script trashing Donald Trump. This is 3 of them: Schumer, Warren, and Cory Booker.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
That ain't true. That's what you just heard. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are not down. They're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of grocery, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials. It's not getting better. It's getting worse.
All right, I'll stop. Don't drive into that tree. It says whatever you do. I know it's bad. 22 Senate Democrats have now recorded the exact same video with the exact same script and posted it online. Like, we don't know how the internet works.
That's just lazy.
It's just awful.
You can't write 4 different scripts and split them up that way.
You could get the script and pump it into ChatGPT and be like, give me the exact same points worded differently.
And how many Democrats have read?
22.
So they could have had ChatGPT write 22 different scripts for them, but they just couldn't be bothered.
Easily 30 seconds.
And where were all these complaints when Biden's prices were going through the roof?
Where was the energy?
Yeah.
They didn't have that energy. Isn't that amazing? You know, Trump is going to get out there tonight. He's going to tout his accomplishments. It's only been a month. We had $1.7 trillion invested into the country via companies like Apple, Taiwan Semiconductors, and more, right? We have border crossings at an all-time low. Like, it's only been a month. This guy has some legitimate accomplishments to tell the American people about. It's insane. It's insane. But the Democrats, they'll be as upset as ever. Oh, have you seen the price of eggs? Didn't Biden kill like 1 billion chickens on his way out? It's like, shoot that chicken dead. That chicken has the sniffles. Kill him. That's what happened. Democrats
They were wiping out all the flocks that were affected. So instead of allowing for any natural immunity to be built up in these flocks, they were just wiping them out wholesale.
Yep.
So the next flock to get it would have no immunity.
Yep. Look up Merrick's disease with chickens. Chickens are like over-vaccinated. They have no actual immunity for anything anymore. It's wild. But the Democrats are upset. They're upset. There are reports that they're going to be bringing hand clappers, signs, noisemakers, and eggs, and they could be walking out, according to Axios. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. There's going to be metal detectors, security screenings. People are saying that they're not going to be allowed to bring in signs. But Democrats are going to be unhinged. The ones that are in attendance are going to be very, very upset that they have to be there. Very upset. So we're looking forward to that. But the speech tonight, it should be awesome, man. It should be very, very cool. Even CBS, where you CBS, they were saying, listen, there's a lot for Trump to talk about after his first month.
So while a typical joint address might be a somewhat boring, somewhat somber list of goals from a new president, you can expect President Trump to instead tout action, accomplishments. And there's been a lot of that, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe no president since FDR has attempted so much so quickly.
No president since FDR has attempted so much so quickly. Again, that's CBS. Mainstream media, they're like, yeah, no, he's got a lot to talk about. He's got plenty to talk about. And I think one of the big things he's going to focus on is the border. I heard Democrats are going to bring unemployed federal workers with them. What? Yep. Well, they have free time. They have a lot of free time. Unemployed federal workers are going to be in attendance. Oh, it's heart-wrenching to know that these bureaucrats no longer have a gig and that they were dumb enough to wait to be fired instead of taking the 8-month severance. Mind-numbing. This is the current state of the left. But Trump has a lot to talk about. Trump has a lot of victories. And when it comes to the border, it's been absolutely massive. Now, we need to get better. We need to ramp up deportations. And I think that we will see a ramp up in deportations as we see these ICE raid leaks stop happening. There's a left-wing activist reporter with the handle Pablo Reports, and he's tweeting out leaked information about planned ICE raids in Virginia this weekend to warn illegals. This kind of stuff has to stop. We need consequences and we need accountability.
Meanwhile, in Northern Virginia, if you were in the country illegally, you got a heads up over the weekend because the reporter, the editor for the Migrant Insider, Pablo Mencuriez, with 45,000 followers, put out that ICE is planning raids today, that's for Monday, and tomorrow in Northern Virginia. 75 to 100 different warrants. And as of about an hour ago, that had 615,000 views. So the migrant community is well aware of what ICE has got planned today.
Did you see? That stuff's got to stop. Like, not only are you putting police officers and ICE agents in the line of fire in that situation, you're also making it much more dangerous for the illegal aliens that you claim to love and want to protect so much. It's a lot safer for every party involved if you can pick up these rapists and murderers and gang members when they're sitting in a jail cell. A lot easier. A lot safer. But they don't want to do that. No. And they want to give them heads up that ICE is coming. Insanity. It's not just Pablo Reports from the Migrant Insider. Who doesn't read the Migrant Insider? I actually want to start reading the Migrant Insider. It sounds pretty cool. But you got guys like that, but you also have actual leftist politicians like AOC also giving tutorials on how to avoid ICE. In fact, AOC was on an interview with NPR, National Public Radio, where only whispering is allowed. And she said, listen, I wasn't giving advice to illegal aliens in that webinar on how to avoid ICE. I was giving advice to all of my constituents.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Hiding behind the legalese. I was talking to all my constituents about their rights, and she knows exactly what she's doing, because harboring or encouraging illegal presence is 8 of the U.S. Code. Section 1324 makes it a felony to knowingly or encourage or assist illegal aliens to remain in the U.S. unlawfully. If AOC's advice was specific enough, she could be facing criminal charges. I hope that she does. I think that you need to make a loud example out of one of these individuals. Maybe AOC would be the loudest. But she says she's hiding behind the legalese. I was talking to all of my constituents, all of them, including the ones that are not citizens of the country, apparently.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Mm-hmm. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
Except, especially the ones that are here illegally. Especially the ones that don't contribute anything to society, only take. Those were the ones I was hyper-focused on. But it was all of my constituents, I swear. Again, this is very calculated by AOC. A lot of people call her dumb, and I think you can make the case, but she's not a total idiot. She knows what she's doing with this interview. She's laying the groundwork for a defense, point blank.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you heard from the Department of Justice?
I have not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
Really? What would your question be for the Department of Justice?
I want to inquire about Tom Homan inquiring about me. That's the inquiry. That's you're going to reach out. AOC is going to reach out to the Department of Justice.
Well, there is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry. And are you going to do it?
What would you learn? What do you hope to learn from that exchange?
I think it's important to know where this administration stands and if they intend on using political intimidation to silence their critics.
Oh, I'm being bullied. They're silencing their critics as I post a webinar on how to avoid being deported by ICE. It's not silencing critics. What you're doing is you're aiding and abetting illegal immigration in this country. You're standing in the way of ICE proceedings. I feel bullied. I'm going to ask them about the inquiry. She did, too. She did. So after that webinar that she did, where she was instructing illegal aliens on how to avoid ICE, you got to know your rights. After that webinar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did reach out to the Justice Department to find out. She had an inquiry about a possible inquiry. She wrote, I write to request clarity on whether the Department of Justice has yielded to political pressure and attempts to weaponize the agency against elected officials whose speech they disagree with. This has nothing to do with your speech. You're committing a crime. You're potentially committing a crime. You should be held accountable. You should be. Speech they disagree with. Now they love the First Amendment. You notice how that works? Now they'll hide behind the First Amendment. When it was about you and you said that the COVID vaccine won't stop you from getting it or spreading it, that you would be banned offline. They didn't care about the First Amendment and free speech then, but nowadays, that they could be in trouble. Well, what about the First Amendment? She said, it's been 14 days since Mr. Homan first threatened to weaponize your agency, but I have not yet heard any referral from the federal government. Homan's actions undercut core constitutional rights, and further transparency is necessary. A DOJ spokesperson said the department received the letter, but declined to comment on whether it has notified the Democratic lawmaker about the investigation status. Additionally, the department is focused more on prioritizing immigration enforcement right now than Ocasio-Cortez's recent actions. We got the letter, and we don't care about your feelings. We're not worried about you being bullied by Tom Homan, and we're going to continue trying to deport as many people as we can. They say the DOJ also received 29 violent cartel leaders on American soil following an unprecedented extradition. We are more focused on the latter. Yeah, we're actually doing our job. I know it's tough for Democrats to comprehend. Putting in work, doing work, accomplishing things, but here we are. The letter follows the ongoing public feud between Ocasio-Cortez and Homan, both of whom have been bickering with each other for weeks. Homan has been a beast. He said, I've forgotten more about immigration law than Ocasio-Cortez ever knew. Yeah, I'm in Team Tom Homan on this one. Easily Team Tom Homan. It's 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand again tonight. Nashville Palace, joint session of Congress, DJT, the haircut that everybody's been waiting for with Matt Murphy, the entire 99.7 WTN crew, and you. Tickets are available. There's only a few left. Grab them while you can. 997WTN.com. My name is Chris Hand, and I want to tell you about my friends at the Glock store. We're so lucky to have these guys in Nashville. One of the reasons that the Glock is the most popular handgun in America is because the just wide availability of custom and performance parts. I mean, you got everything. Competition triggers, night sights, extended controls, magwells, red dot optics. I could go on and on, but there's just too many upgrades to mention. But rest assured, if it's for a Glock, well, the Glock store carries it. Now, here's why we're so lucky that we have the Glock store right here in Nashville. If the Glock store is open for business, there is always a certified gunsmith on site, on duty, always. And whatever parts you purchase to customize your Glock, they'll be installed for you for free while you wait. Let me say that one more time. They'll be installed for you for free while you wait. Now, you'll say, what did he say what I think he said? Yes, for free while you wait. There's a lot of reasons like the Glock store. Free parts installation is just one of them. I know you'll find a lot more to like at the Glock store when you stop in. It's minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Tell them Chris Hand sent you. Glockstore.com and shoot270.com.
Got two weather situations we need to tell you about, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau talking tough about tariffs. These stories and more at 11:30 on Super Talk at 99.7 WTN.
Talking tough in the most polite way possible. It's very well mannered. I don't want to offend anybody, but quite perturbed. We'll talk about these tariffs in a moment. But real quick, Phil is on the line. He wants to talk about AOC. What's up, Phil?
Hey, Chris, I've got two quick questions. One, when she gave that little talk, so to speak, didn't she give that in Spanish?
I don't believe so. There were people that were posting videos in Spanish, and Dan Goldman, rep from, I believe he's California, he even posted one with Mandarin subtitles. So, I mean, like, they know who their target audience is.
Okay. Because if she did it in Spanish, then she's not doing all of her constituents.
Fair. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Second question is, if you're here illegally, what gives you the right to have my rights as a citizen of the United States?
Yep.
Like the Fourth and Fifth Amendments and the First Amendment and everything else.
Yeah, I'm listen.
If you were here illegally,
you're preaching to the choir. If you broke into this country, you should be treated like a criminal. Now, criminals do have rights, and there are procedures that we need to do, but we shouldn't be encouraging them to ignore immigration and customs enforcement. Like that's especially our elected officials. Like I understand it from the unhinged radical leftist protest groups and those mobs. Like I get that, but we shouldn't be allowing democratically elected representatives be the ones to push this narrative down the road.
I agree with that, but I don't think they should have, our constitutional rights. They're not from here. They came here illegally, so why should they have our constitutional rights?
Yeah, I'm with you, Phil, and I hear you, man.
Okay,
hey, appreciate the call. Tom Homan is definitely asking the DOJ to look into AOC. We'll keep you updated on what happens there. But tomorrow, we got 4 sanctuary city mayors coming into D.C., Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York City. They're prepping for a hearing before the House Committee on Oversight and Government. They're going to be answering questions about that sanctuary city policies that have just ruined their cities. And Tom Homan had a message for Boston's sanctuary city mayor, Michelle Wu, before the hearing tomorrow.
What's your message to the sanctuary city mayors? What would you say to them?
Well, look, I met with the House Republicans yesterday and went over sanctuary cities and the dangers of sanctuary cities. Sanctuary city mayors are going to say this. We're a sanctuary city, we're a welcoming community because we want victims and witnesses of a crime to feel comfortable coming to the police and report a crime as a victim witness without worry we're working with ICE. That is a false narrative because victims and witnesses of crime do not want the bad guy back in the community. They would much rather this person be taken in custody of ICE after the county's done with them.
Yep.
That's the message. Sanctuaries are sanctuary criminals. And as far as the mayor of Boston saying safest city, well, I know 9 children that would disagree with her. 9 sets of parents whose children were sexually assaulted, raped by people who are not supposed to be here in the country legally. So we're going to provide real examples of people that they released from custody in these sanctuary cities that ICE took a lot of time to find these people and take them off the streets. And who knows how many children were attacked by these people between the time the county released them and ICE was able to find them, because sometimes it takes months. So we're going to present real life situations on real victims of real illegal immigration crime.
I mean, that hearing tomorrow is going to be absolutely nuts. Again, you got the Denver mayor, Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, and then Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, who gained notoriety by having a no whites allowed Christmas party. That Mayor Michelle Wu. So we'll keep you updated on that. Definitely looking forward to it. Also tonight, Nashville Palace, joint session of Congress. We want you there. Tickets are available, 997WTN.com. And when we get back, we got some updates on Trump v. Canada. We really should be a little bit more gentle with the 51st state. It's 11:30 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got two weather situations here in Middle Tennessee today. First, the wind advisory is going to go into effect at noon for strong winds. We're talking gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Now, that's enough to blow around trash cans and lawn furniture or worse, bring down trees and tree branches onto power lines, which could mean sporadic power outages. Then tonight, it's highly likely there will be thunderstorms, but low chance for anything severe here in Middle Tennessee. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau speaking out about the tariff war with the U.S.
The U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Now, if these tariffs stay in place, economists expect you could start to see price hikes by Memorial Day. For groceries, it could be within weeks or even days. Well, the president of Ukraine has a new message for President Trump following their recent falling out. In a lengthy post on X, the Ukrainian president says he and his team stand ready to work under, quote, President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. Karen Travers at the White House has details on President Trump's address to the joint session of Congress tonight.
President Trump will continue a tradition by having guests join the First Lady tonight for his speech to the joint session of Congress. Presidents typically invite Americans who've been impacted by their policies or personify issues they want to highlight. Joining Melania Trump will be Mark Fogel, an American who was recently freed from a Russian prison, the family of Corey Comparator, who was shot and killed at the president's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania last summer, and the mother and sister of Laken Riley, the 22-year-old nursing student who was killed by an undocumented migrant.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. It's 11:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I think my friends at Busy Bee are trying to get me in trouble because they got this new deal, and we know what month it is, and they're calling it Spring Rebate Madness. And if I say it the wrong way, I'm going to be in big trouble. But it's worth it because these deals are unbelievable. How about this? A mini split 17 SEER or heat pump 17 SEER, $800 rebate. Heat pump 15, 16 SEER, $500 rebate. Duct sealing or repair, $300 rebate. Tune-ups, $50 rebate for each one. So you join the Beehive Club today, you get your spring tune-up and a $50 rebate. Then you get your fall tune-up and a $50 rebate, and boom, you just paid for your Beehive membership for the year. And get this, Busy Bee will file the rebates for you, so you don't have to. It really pays to be a Beehive Club member with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 3 annual tune-ups, 10% off all repairs, front-of-the-line service, a $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000, no overtime or holiday fees, and exclusive Beehive member promotions. That's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. It is Spring Rebate Madness. BusyBeeHVAC.com. It's 11:37, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand. Hope you're doing well. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We are live on just about every streaming device there is, and we're live on Super Talk TV. If you're watching us on Super Talk TV, you'll understand why my kids aren't going to be going to summer camp or getting new shoes anytime soon. The likes and the subscribes today have just been way too low. So when I get home today, I'm going to let the kids know that you let them down. Unless you head over there right now and hit like and subscribe.
Horrible people making his children cry. That's just unforgivable.
The looks that we get when we send them to school barefoot, it's really, this is on you. And when CPS shows up, I'm gonna tell them I didn't get enough likes and subscribes. I'm just letting you know. No, head over to YouTube, hit like and subscribe. We appreciate it when you do. We get a massive speech tonight, Nashville Palace. Donald J. Trump, joint session of Congress. It's going to be a blast. Can't wait to see you guys out there. There are tickets still available at 997WTN.com. So please, if you're on the fence, you're thinking about coming, grab your tickets now. Now there's not that many left, so hit the website, get your tickets, 997WTN.com. We do have the confirmation that Matt Murphy will be getting some sort of a haircut tonight. If it's a sellout, it's a buzz cut. I think we can do it. Not much time left. I still think we can do it. I'm going to be lobbying as many people as I can to make that happen. We need to see Matt Murphy shaved bald. That's happening tonight. It's going to be a blast. Again, tickets are $40. You get a buffet. You get some drink tickets. You get reserved seating. 997WTN.com. We want to see you out there. We got Trump versus Canada 2.0. Very excited about the trade war that is with Canada. And as of midnight last night, tariffs are in place. Tariffs are officially in place. 25% on Mexico, 25% on Canada. Though there was a carve out. It's only going to be a 10% tariff on the oil imports from Canada. And then it's up to 20% for China. Let's go. I'm here for it. And I'm really here for it when you listen to the Canadians and they're oh so salty. Premier Doug Ford out of Ontario, he's my favorite. I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's any Canadian I like more than Doug Ford. His brother was the mayor of Toronto that got busted smoking crack. Like fun runs in the family. Well, actually, if you look at Doug Ford, I don't think anybody runs in the family, but he's still my fave. And he said, we're going to cut off electricity to America.
Okay, I wanted to get to energy. One of the things you may do very quickly if there are tariffs is either put a tax on energy or actually cut off energy exports to the United States. Can you clarify where those plans are at? What kind of surtax are you talking about?
Well, we're going to have every option. We're going to use every tool in our toolbox. And I appreciate the question. But if they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face. And I'm encouraging every other province to do the same. Quebec, Manitoba, BC, we all have to act in unison. Out east, they rely on our energy. They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard. We're going to come back twice as hard.
We're going to come twice as hard. We're going to cut off your electricity. You're going to feel the pain. It's like, bro, we've been bathed in pain. We've had 4 years of Joe Biden. Like, we miss the pain a little bit since Joe Biden left office. We're welcoming it back. We're going to annihilate. If they're going to annihilate Ontario, we're going to go after them.
I love his smack talk. Like, you want to put our economy up against yours, bro? Okay, sure.
They're going to annihilate Ontario. We don't want to annihilate Ontario. We want you guys to become the 51st state. We don't want to annihilate you at all. But he says we're gonna take out their electricity. We're gonna shut off their energy. And again, I mentioned this earlier in the show, but the mainline pipeline, the Line 5, Canada's largest oil pipeline, it just so happens to it doesn't go straight across Canada. To get to Ontario, where Doug Ford is, it has to come through the United States.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that interesting?
They might need that.
You would think with all this tough talk, you would understand where your pipelines are and how easily we could just shut that down. Right? Like, no, they're going to annihilate Ontario. We're going to cut off electricity to Minnesota and New York. It's okay. All right. No more oil for you. It's like,
going to be hard to heat your homes up there. Still pretty cold.
It would be very easy. You want to play games? We can play games. I'm here for it. I'm fully in favor of annexing Canada. You want me to support a war? There's one I like. And we'll take all the poutine. I'll take it all. But listen, they're talking tough. They're posturing. I get it. It doesn't make me that upset. I actually think the entire thing is as funny as anything else.
Well, and Brother Chris, they've got elections going on up there, right?
Yep.
So everybody's going to be talking tough in one form or fashion.
Oh, and they all are. Chrystia Freeland, she's running for prime minister. She's saying that we need to go 100% tariffs on anything that Trump is going to do. She was on with Jen Psaki on MSNBC.
It's great to see you. You could be, which is pretty incredible to say out loud, you could be the prime minister this time next week. Tariffs, of course, are going to be a major issue. You've suggested Canada should fight back in a very targeted way. You've been very forward about that. You've pushed to target Wisconsin dairy farmers, Michigan manufacturers, Florida oranges, to name a few, as a way of really specifically hitting states that are politically key to Donald Trump. You know what gets to his heart there. How far, for people who are watching, are you ready to go on tariffs? They're gonna be put into place in a couple of hours. How far are you ready to go? And what other targets would you want to aim for?
Is it just me, or did Jen Psaki go with oranges on purpose? The Florida orange. What are you going to do to that Florida orange?
Well, it is great to be with you, Jen. And I am running to be the next leader of the Liberal Party and the next Prime Minister of Canada. Because right now, we Canadians have to stand up and fight for our country. If the tariffs are imposed, as Prime Minister, I will fight back with dollar for dollar retaliatory tariffs.
Isn't that exactly what Donald Trump is saying? Reciprocal tariffs. It's not a level playing field. So we need to tariff you so that way you bring your tariffs down. Like that's so if you bring your tariffs to zero, then Trump is probably going to bring his tariffs to zero. Dollar for dollar. Dollar for dollar. Okay.
And our retaliation is going to be surgically targeted to create the maximum pressure on the White House to stop what the Wall Street Journal has described quite rightly as the dumbest trade war in history.
Yeah, dumb on you guys. I mean, listen, Canada needs America a lot more than America needs Canada. Like, it's a nice hat and all, but we don't really need you guys. And if we wanted to, well, we could take you. Like, let's be perfectly honest.
Maple syrup isn't that valuable to us, though.
Oh, we have Vermont. Like we can figure out maple syrup. Like we can cross that bridge when we get to it. It's just this.
Hey, I'll go without any syrup on my flapjacks. I'm okay with that.
This is just it's the dumbest trade war ever. Please stop, says the Canadian. Justin Trudeau was talking about this as well earlier today. I don't know why Justin Trudeau is still going to podiums and doing press conferences. Like, didn't you quit? I thought you quit, right? Like, nobody liked you. Nobody wanted you around. You're the worst prime minister in Canadian history. The country has just absolutely deteriorated under your leadership. Let's hear what he has to say.
So today, the United States launched a trade war against Canada. Their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator.
I mean, who takes this guy serious? They can't even get their microphones working. They can't even get their audio right at the podium. Oh, Putin's a dictator. Got it. Yep. Putin's not a good guy. Got it. That's all they have to go on.
Make that make sense. Canadians are reasonable, and we are polite.
Yep. Very polite. Very, the most polite.
But we will not back down from a fight. Not when our country and the well-being of everyone in it is at stake. At the moment, the U.S. tariffs came into effect in the early hours of this morning, and so did the Canadian response. Canada will be implementing 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods, starting with tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods immediately and tariffs on the remaining $125 billion of American products in 21 days' time.
All right, we got a tariff game of chicken. Let's see what happens. My money is on Donald Trump in the United States all day long. All day. Trump has been getting things done, and Trump posting on True Social this morning, Canada doesn't allow banks to do business. Canada doesn't allow American banks to do business in Canada, but their banks flood the American market. Oh, that seems fair to me, doesn't it? Like Trump is already 3 steps ahead of these people. They're going to impose their retaliatory tariffs, and then Trump is going to impose something else. This is a trade war that Canada cannot win. They can't. I don't know why they're doing anything other than trying to fix it. But hey, don't interrupt your enemies while they're making a mistake. And yes, I said enemies. With friends like these, who needs enemies? It's time for America to be treated fairly on the world stage when it comes to business, when it comes to tariffs. Donald Trump is the first president in my lifetime that I've seen actually looking out for the interests of the American people. And Lord willing, he's going to continue doing that for the next 3 years, 11 months. And we're going to hear from him tonight as he gives his joint session of Congress speech. Live, we'll be at the Nashville Palace. Myself, Murphy, Mandis, Benson, Wilson, Jones, Weaver, the entire crew is going to be there. We want you there as well. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, there's still a few available. 997WTN.com. You get yourself a full buffet, reserved seating, drink tickets, and more. 997WTN.com.
Tough tariff talk out of Canada. Ukraine President Zelensky, after President Trump paused weapon shipments, says he's ready to sign a minerals deal and limited truce. And the story of the man with the golden arm, credited with saving hundreds of lives through plasma donations. We'll tell you about it at noon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 54 minutes past the hour. Chris Hand in studio with Chad Benson. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. About 10 minutes ago, while I was ranting about Canada, Trump put out a statement on True Social. Did you see this? I played you the Chrystia Freeland audio. She's like, oh, we're going to go 100% tariffs. Trump said, please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada. So good.
Best troll in the world.
It's the best. Please explain to Governor Trudeau of Canada that when he puts a retaliatory tariff on the U.S., our reciprocal tariff will immediately increase by a like amount. That's what reciprocity?
Yes.
That's what it
done.
means.
Well said.
Like that?
Reciprocity.
I love the trade wars.
We'll see. I mean, again, it's you got to explain it tonight to the people. Look, you're going to have to tighten your belts. It's going to suck for a little while. Prices may go up. There's a reason for it. You got to give people a reason for it, not just because I don't like Trudeau or Mexico needs to do more. You got to give them a reason of why you're doing some of these things, because it makes it easier for people to go, oh, I can get behind that. If it's just because I want to troll is what they feel, that's when people get frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more to it than just the troll. I think the troll is a great way to get media attention.
I'm still trying to figure out Canada. You know, the white peso. Why are we mad? This is what I call it, the white peso. Why again Canada?
Well, I mean, you look at some of the tariffs that they have on our stuff. It's like a 250% tariff on dairy products and things like that. It's
They've
like
had
just
that for
bring
a
it.
long time though.
But it doesn't mean it's right.
No, but
just because no president's gone after it doesn't mean that, oh, we should continue doing business as normal because that's the business we've always been in. No,
I want to see them cut all the power off to Minnesota and stuff.
Oh, I dare them.
That's what I was thinking.
That'd be fighting words, because the main pipeline, Canada 5, the Canadian main line comes right through America.
Yeah.
You could cut off oil to Ontario in a heartbeat.
I would. How weird would that be though if they cut? Because that guy threatened. He said it was at Ford or whatever. He said, I will. If I have to. Well, I don't want to. I want to send more power. But if I have to, I think it was Montana, Minnesota, and parts of Michigan
And New York.
Yeah. Well, we don't care about New York.
No, that's what I said. Nothing of value was lost.
No.
But does he even have the authority to do that? The premier?
I don't know.
He's essentially a governor of a state.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yeah, so
I
it'd
no
be like
idea.
it'd be like Bill Lee being like, I'm going to cut off this to England. It's like, does it hold any weight?
It's really interesting because I don't know how they handle like their power. I don't know if like Ontario has their own group of power, like PG&E or whoever, Water and Power, and if he has that kind of control, because like a governor here is not going to try to do something stupid like that.
No, but I mean that you would
have to have the power to do that.
Would you? That would be considered an act of war.
It would be something where we just wander over and just take all their stuff.
Yeah, like
everybody free to go to Ontario, take what you want.
This is ours now. Yeah,
we live here now.
Yeah. Honestly, I had my buddy Joe Bob. He just launched a show on Real America's Voice, which is great, and I love Joe Bob. But he's like I just want to see America invade Canada and just take 4 feet. But what are you gonna do?
There's a movie you guys got to watch. The movie Canadian Bacon.
Yeah,
have you seen that?
Yep.
Where they over a hockey fight.
Yep.
It's so awesome. It is so awesome.
I'm here for it. I don't think Canada has any. They can't make it. They can't make it without America.
No. Well, no. God, neither of these. I mean, our biggest trading partner is Mexico. If we weren't there, what is Mexico going to do?
Yep.
This hurts Mexico more than anything else. And I'll see. Well, it'll be interesting to see how long she lasts.
They're going to keep talking tough in Canada as they have the prime minister elections going on.
Yeah.
Which the elections in Canada make no sense.
No, they don't.
They just call it whatever
he
they want to call
resigns,
it.
but he's still in power. Like
Yeah.
that's the weirdest. Like Nixon going, all right, I'll quit, but I'm gonna stick around until the next election.
Give me 2 more years. That's it.
Then I'm done. I promise I'm out of here.
I swear it's going to be 2034. We'll be like, didn't Trudeau resign like almost a decade ago?
So yeah, I know they've got their stuff going on right now, and even the conservatives over there aren't a big fan of poking fun. What's his name? What the heck's his name?
Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
But they're not even really conservatives. Like they're conservatives in the Canadian sense of the word. But you'll listen to Pierre Poilievre's speeches, and he'd be like, "Oh, race crimes, hate crimes are up in Canada 250%." It's like, I don't know a conservative that's talking about hate crimes.
No, well, Canada, maybe that's a big deal. Maybe you guys got some serious issues in Canada that you need to pay attention to.
You should focus on Canada first instead of trying to retaliate.
He's an interesting character, though. But I don't know what Scheinbaum's going to do, because Mexico is, I know this is some about fentanyl and obviously about what are you going to do with all these people flowing across, or now not flowing across. Now they're just over there.
Yeah.
Because
they're your problem now.
Yeah,
and then they're on record going, we can't afford to house and feed all these people. It's like, well, welcome to what we've been dealing with. My buddy, who's a border agent, said you could see him. They have no idea what to do, and he goes, we'll take people into custody, and it's like there's thousands waiting on the other side. They just don't know what to do because they've got there, and now the cartels are trying to tell them, all right, you pay 12, you need to pay us another 6, or we're going to keep you here. Insanity
Indeed.
At least the cartels are still figuring out ways to make money off this deal.
There you go. Even when they get you, we told you we'd get you here. We didn't say we'd get you across. That'll be another 6.
All right, perfect. Chad Benson's in next. Don't forget, tonight, Nashville Palace. I want to see you there, man.
New haircut.
It's gonna be so much fun. I got my haircut. I didn't want to steal thunder away from Murphy. I thought to myself, I said, maybe I jump in and get trimmed up, but no, let Murphy have his moment.
There you go. Not too much, he told me last night. He's going to take about an inch. We're at the point where it's only taking about an inch and a half.
Oh, come on. Buy those tickets. Let's get a buzz cut in here. 99.7WTN.com. Chad Benson's in next. This is Super Talk.